Now then, this morning I am in Nottingham at East Midlands Airport and it's really cold. In about 24 hours though, I am hopefully at least going to be at the top of the world's third highest volcano at 12,000 feet above sea level. This 24-hour countdown thing is going to include flight time, driving and everything, and all of the hiking and climbing that is necessary, which by the way is a fucking lot. And that's because we're going to do it all properly. We're not going to take any shortcuts. We're going to do it all manually, physically, from bottom to the top, the long way basically. I'll explain more about what that means later on, but we're going to do it the real way. As for the plan, we're going to fly, land, drive somewhere, park up, climb most of the way up, sleep on the volcano, climb some more, and then if all goes to plan, reach the peak of the volcano without smeagling myself and falling into the fiery pits of Mount Doom on the way at about this time tomorrow. But we'll go into each bit in more detail as we go along, in case you've stumbled across this video as a kind of guide or whatever and you're trying to do it yourself. We'll do all that as we get to each bit. Anyway, it's fucking freezing out here, so I'm off inside. I'm going to catch my plane. For your information, I am flying from East Midlands Airport to Tenerife South with Jet2 and it's costing me 35 quid. Going to start the 24-hour clock as we take off, so about 9 o'clock if all goes to plan, and then we're off. So yeah, let's do it. Right, I'm in. Now where's my car? Okay, perfect. Gracias. Tengo el coche. Now we've just got to find it. It is 25 degrees out here today, so this coat suddenly feels a bit excessive, but it won't for long. Ah. We're in. Oh, fucking hell, wrong side. Alright, I'm on fire. This is the hottest day and I can't fucking put the key in, it's the wrong side of the car. Hey. Alright, are we ready?
Niki, hija de imagen, a buscarlo.
The Spanish have given me a fucking empty car. Los Belendos. Hi, the car has no petrol in it.
Yes, we know.
I know, it is just the way we work. I mean, that was dead French, but that's pretty much what he said. Just turned out I was pressing the wrong pedal to try and start it. It is, I don't know what time it is, 2:14 PM. I've never actually driven on the wrong side of the road or driven a rental car before, so this could go well. Anyway, let's go and get some gasolina and then drive and then walk. It's about an hour drive, so let's get it done. Driving is immediately strange, but I've got an Espanol man filling petrol for me. Right, that's it. Fueled, ready to go. What's the Spanish word for? Because we're off. Obviously I'm not a div, so I'm not going to drive while I'm filming, so we'll catch up in like an hour's time. 14:22. Let's step on it. Alright, well, I'm on the fucking moon. As you can see, this isn't a particularly stressful bit of the walk. I've just parked down there a bit. I'm now walking to where I believe the hike starts, or at least find somewhere that I can just start going upwards. And so at 3:58 the ascent of El Teide has begun, and here's what it looks like for the first part at least. But anyway, yeah, driving was a bit wank, but if you're going to do it this way by hiking it, not cheating, it's the only option, because the public transport system to get here and back is ball bag. And trying to get here in the daytime and doing it in one day and leaving opens up a whole new can of permit worms, which I'll get into later. Anyway, if you're going to do this, you kind of have to rent a car. Soz. So what I mean by cheating is that there is a cable car that takes you to the top of this volcano, so it's not uncommon that people reach the peak. It's just not as common that people actually hike it. If you're old or pregnant or you've got heart problems, then take the cable car by all means. If you are none of those things and you take the cable car by choice, out of laziness, then you're a fat div and you probably support Lincoln City, because something up there clearly doesn't work that well. And so, at 16:16, we are already above the clouds, ladies and gentlemen. This hike begins at like 2,200, 2,300 meters or so, which means we're already twice as high than the highest point in all the UK. So we're pretty high up. And while a 2,200 meter or so head start may sound like a good thing, which I guess it kind of is, it also means you get to 2,500 meters pretty suddenly. And 2,500 meters is the point at which, if you're going to get altitude sickness, that's when. Altitude sickness can pretty much happen to anyone. It's when the air gets a bit thinner, your brain can't cope, it's not a time to adjust. It makes it harder to breathe in general being up here, but pretty randomly it can affect people. There's nothing that really stops you getting it. But the way that we've decided to do this, it means that we're at slightly higher risk, because we've gone pretty much from sea level when we landed 2,500 meters within a few hours. Our bodies had no chance to acclimatise, adjust to the new oxygen and all that shit. So at any point I could kind of just start vomiting profusely and dying. But fingers crossed. So then, Lewis, you flid. If it is like slightly risky or whatever, why are you in such a rush to do it in 24 hours? Well, there's a couple of reasons why I want to do it quickly. Firstly, because I have limited holidays off work, as most people. Secondly, I want to try and prove a point that you can do cool, adventurous, fun stuff without having to take a gap year or selling your house and running away forever. You can do it little bits here and there on a sensible timescale. You can do it cheaply, quickly, easily. And thirdly, because I was just getting itchy feet and wanted to climb something. So hopefully by this time tomorrow, I'll be heading back to Grimsby, reinvigorated, victorious, and, well, not dead would be quite good, wouldn't it? So yeah, if I make it in, you know, regular clothes, no special preparation, then you'll know that it's possible, and you can just go for a weekend, take your family, whatever, just go walk somewhere cool, because the world is very, very accessible these days. Anyway, that brings us nicely to what I believe are the eggs of El Teide. These things. These are so-called eggs. They're everywhere. They're pretty much just magma bogies. They were spat out from the volcano a long time ago. They've dried up, they've rolled a bit, they've gathered more, they've dried up more. Big fat lava bogey. Alright, so it's just gone 5 o'clock, so I'm about an hour in. So I'm having my first break of the day, having a little picnic, and I think we can all agree this is not a bad spot to have a picnic. Did you know that at any given point there are 20 volcanoes erupting around the world? All the time. It's mad, isn't it? I need a hat change. I'm getting cold here, it's fucking freezing up here. Look at that. Comfiest person in the world. But on a serious note, it gets very, very, very cold quite quickly up here. Maybe 2,500 to 3,000 metres up somewhere, so the temperature drops to about 5 degrees rather than the 25 at sea level, plus the wind chill factor. Bottom line is, come prepared. It's going to get quite nippy. The path's now getting steeper and windier, so I'm going to power through some volcano for a bit. Talking's quite tiring, so yeah, it's about 5:30. If I die, you don't hear from me again, and I've frozen to death, then I'll see you somewhere here. It's not very helpful, is it? Anyway, yeah, let's get on with it. Exhausted already. Sweaty but cold somehow. Minging. Six o'clock. That means we're 9 hours in total and about 2 hours into the climb. It also means the sun is setting, look. And so that means we are inevitably going to have to complete at least some of this in the dark, because we've got quite a way to go yet until where we're sleeping. It does look pretty nice though. And if you look behind me, you can see the silhouette of the volcano on the horizon, which looks fucking mint. Just in case you ever wondered what a sunset on Mars would look like. This whole barren, spacey look that it's got about it is the reason that films like Star Wars and Planet of the Apes were filmed here somewhere. I bet they didn't fucking climb it, did they? Lazy pricks. Funnily enough, it's starting to get quite volcanic near the top, or I assume slash hope is near the top. Otherwise my heart is going to fucking give out. I know I keep stopping to show you what is essentially the same thing over and over again, but that view is astonishing. And that volcano silhouette thing, it's pure magic. Absolute fucking magic. Wonderful. Anyway, this whole gawping at Martian sunsets malarkey is not doing me many favours, because as you can see it's getting dark. It's about 6:30 by the way, for reference, and still got a bit of a way to go. Good news, my elevation app thing has just told me that I've crossed into 3,000 metres altitude territory, so I reckon I've got about 200 metres more to go height wise before I reach my destination for the night. So we're going to have some nighttime climbing to do, but hopefully not too much, so let's get on with it. Can't fucking breathe. Oh, and 3,000 metres, the temperature drops to about 0 degrees. So it's feeling pretty fucking arctic up here. With the wind, makes it about -1 Kelvin. This really is quite cruel, because the longer you climb for, the more tired you already are, and it gets steeper as you get to the top, and you've got less oxygen to breathe because the air's thinner. All these things just make it like exponentially more difficult. And then the second you do take a break, all the sweat you've accumulated from tirelessly trying to climb this bastard cools down on your back, and it makes you fucking freeze. Bit of a nightmare this. Anyway, I've got a secret weapon. Oh! That's the biggest spider in the whole world. Anyway, yeah, it is an torch. Look how gross this terrain is now. And it fits over one's ridiculous hat. Fucking out like a steam engine, don't I? Whoever made these head torches deserves an OBE, although here's what I can see with it. Anyway, still an awful lot more than I'd be able to do otherwise, so still very grateful for the creation of Al Bork of the magical head torch. I can't see where I'm fucking going. I don't know where the trail goes. Bloody hell. It's windy and it's cold. Where the fucking hell's my bed? In case you don't believe me that it's cold, I found snow and ice and stuff. This wind chill really is horrendous. And every 10 minutes I keep thinking, oh, I must be there now. And then I'm just fucking there and it goes on forever. What an expedition this is. I'm gonna die. Never known relief like it. I found the fucking refuge. I'm going to save all the explaining about what the refuge actually is and the whole permit situation tomorrow, but for now I think I've earned a bed. It is 7:16. I didn't particularly rush up that. I took a few breaks to take pictures and stuff, but I still think we made pretty good time. Fucking exhausted. I'm not an experienced hiker, but I'm not a novice by any means, and that was challenging. Anyway, I'm off to bed. see you in the morning for part 2. Fucking hell. Good night, boys. Easy, 5:32 in the morning, which gives us just over 3 hours to reach our destination before the 24 hours is up. The refuge that I stayed in is pretty much like a hostel. It's got a kitchen, it's got a toilet and some beds. It's 3/4 of the way up or halfway up or something, so it's dead good. Only problem is everyone inside's really properly dressed and I'm here in a fucking netto jumper and my pyjama bottoms under my trousers. I had 2 bananas for breakfast, ready for anything. Let's get a move on. It's probably about -6, -7. Lots more snow about than yesterday, which is weird because there's no actual moisture anywhere. This air is really thin at 10,000 feet. Most reliable shoes in the world. If a Grimbarian div in a netto jumper and old Nike Jordans can do this, if I reach the top, then so can you. Just remember to take a lot of stops, get out of breath, sit down, don't die from altitude sickness, and drink a lot of water. Onwards. One thing I've just noticed is how fucking cold my thighs are, so I just looked down to grab some water from my pocket, which is in the front of my coat, and look at this. The water leaked out my front pocket onto my fucking legs. Now I've got the coldest thighs in the world because of the wind. Ah, fucking balls. My thigh has literally gone numb, so I've stuffed like the inside of my pyjamas, my thermo layer, with a glove, which means I'm now one glove down. But I mean, if you look at it, you can see that it's actually frosted over. Begin to freeze. You need to be careful of things that do get wet. And by the way, no, I didn't piss myself. Wish I did with a bit warm. If that happens to you, just try stopping it into your skin, otherwise, I don't know what happens then. Frostbite maybe. Fuck knows, but yeah, just don't be an idiot, basically. Alright, as per that sign, we're into the final stretch. We're into the last mile, at least as far as distance is concerned. I've got a few hundred metres left to ascend still, so this might be quite a steep one. But we're getting there. The terrain, when you get to that sign, isn't actually that bad, to be honest, but the wind picks up quite a lot. By the way, pretty much the whole ascent, the wind is terrible. I'm trying to film only in between, so if you're not getting that impression that I'm doing a good job. But the wind is awful, even more so up here. And it's 6:43, we've reached the bit where the cable car brings you to, depressingly, in 15 minutes. After the cable car, the path gets really steep. It's quite pathy, so you haven't got to like clamber over things, but really steep and really windy, hence why I'm filming it like this. The nearer you get to the top, the higher up you go, the more sulphur gas you can smell, because it still leaks out of the volcano like all the time, even though it's not about to erupt, hopefully. Still leaks a little bit. It's about 7:15, the sun's starting to come up and we really can't be far from the top. I'm literally sat in a sulphur hole because it's the only place on the whole volcano that I'm sheltered from the 60 mile an hour or so winds, which means it's really poisonous really warm, and that's why I'm steaming up. The camera's steaming up, the glass is steaming up. So I'm going to overlay this with clips of the volcano while I'm saying this bit. 12,192 feet. Your boys made it. The Div and the Neto Jumper and Jordan's made it. The view up here is absolutely staggering, but I think I'm dying from breathing this in. Like, it tastes foul. It is literally toxic, and it tastes as such. There is no big crater to look into like you've imagined, like with a big magma pit in the middle, because only 3 volcanoes in the whole world let you actually do that, and one of those is in Antarctica. So yeah, we're not going to get a chance to do that today, but it is still leaking a lot of gas and gross things. Anyway, that hike is very, very difficult, even by my standards. I'm not a veteran, like I said, but I'm definitely not a novice. I've done a lot before, and this is really hard. Anyway, back to more wind and shots of the volcano. This is literally poison. I'm going to die, so I'm going to get out. Right, so I guess that's pretty much that. We're on the way down. We were up there for quite a while, freezing our knobs off, but taking some pictures and stuff. We made it up there for 7:22, so just over 22 hours from Nottingham to the top of a 12,000 foot volcano. We did it, boys. We fucking did it. Alright, so far we've come down as far as where the cable car goes, so now's a good time to explain the permit thing before I carry on. Basically, you need a permit from the national park to reach the peak of the volcano between 9 AM and 5 PM. So if you're going to climb in the daytime or use the cable car, you have to have that permit, or they won't let you past this stage. There'll be guards and shit. I don't know, it's a protected area, so they're trying to limit the amount of people that use it. The problem with that is a permit has about a 2-month wait, and that's lame. So because I kind of chose to do this last minute meant I didn't want to wait 2 months. I wanted to go do it. So the way to get around that is to book a place in a refuge which is called Alta Vista Refuge. It's basically a hostel, and in that you get a permit to reach the peak before 9 AM. So you're supposed to climb it pretty much like I did, get there at night time to the hostel, to the refuge, and then climb in the morning to sunrise, and then you're off the peak by 9 AM. So then your permit's free, you haven't got to worry about getting one. You can go as soon as you can get a place in the hostel, basically. In the price that I paid for the Alta Vista Refuge, I did get a cable car pass included, which allows you to take the first one of the day, and only the first one of the day, down, which is at 9 AM, and then you get down in 15 minutes, not in, 5 hours. And yeah, I think I might just take that, to be quite honest. One, it'll save my knees. They already ate quite a lot from coming down. Going down mountains is shit, by the way. If you've not done it, it kills your joints. The car's got to go back by 1 o'clock, so this will make sure I get there in time. I don't get angry Spaniards shouting at me. And I think overall we should just kind of cut our losses. Didn't get altitude sickness, didn't hurt myself otherwise, got there on time. We did what we set out to do. Now maybe just reap the benefits. And it's already paid for actually by default, so we might as well. And disclaimer, when I said using cable cars is what Lincoln City fans do, that's for the way up things, that's the lazy way. This is different. Don't shoot me, I'm still a town fan. And so I'm back at the whip, there and back again. Time to take off some fucking layers. Trusty pyjama bottoms, it's too hot for you, you've got to go. Time to get naked in the middle of Mars. Well, I guess that's about that. So I'll be dropping this off and then flying back. The flight I'm getting is about 3:30 with Thomas Cook, I think, and it's costing me a tenner, actually. So I'll be getting home for about 8 o'clock, which means we've gone from Nottingham to 12,000 feet high on a volcano, back to the car, to the plane, and then back home in 35 hours in total. So yeah, you don't need to book off ages from work. Just have a couple of days, go do something cool. That was incredibly exhausting, by the way. I want to make that really clear. I thought I could get away with winging things, and I got away with it, but I was running a pretty fine line. I was very close to being underprepared for that. And there were times when it was dark and steep and tiring that, like, I don't know, anything could have gone wrong. So if you're going to do it, be careful, and then don't blame me if anything does go wrong. If you've got any questions or whatever, you know where to find me, Instagram, Facebook. comments, whatever you want. Definitely recommend it. It was difficult, but definitely recommend it. Just prepare yourself and don't underestimate the mountain, because it is a bastard. Anyway, go do it, good luck, and yeah, cheers for watching, boys. See you in a bit.